Before I start the video, I'd like to give a shout out to my first ever patron. So big shout out today to Nick. Thank you for offering to support the channel. It is really appreciated. And if any of you guys would like to support the channel through Patreon, the link will be in the description box. With that said, let's begin. Hey guys, and welcome to my Keion tier list. This was requested by Clawsaws over on my Discord server. Now I have looked on YouTube, and apart from a very quick list done by Digibro After Dark, which was just this character goes here, this character goes here, as far as I can tell, no one has actually done a Keion tier list video, so I'm going to assume I'm the first to do this. Now I imagine some of you would naturally assume that I would put the 5 main girls at S tier, and you would be right thinking that. However, I want to be more realistic with this, because as much as I love them, they do have their faults. Except Azusa, since she's perfect. So I'm going to put the characters in the tiers I feel best fit them. Now there are a couple of Keion tier list templates on tiermaker.com, but one of them includes every character in the show, and I don't even remember most of them. So this list will only cover the 9 main Keions. So let's dive right in. First is arguably the main girl of the show, Yui. Yui is adorable. She brings incredibly vibrant energy to Keion and would be such a joy to be around. Having a dark day? Spend some time with Yui and you will perk up. That being said, she is also incredibly lazy, has no concepts of self-restraint with Azusa, seems to care more about food than other things, much like Saki from Long Riders, and is one reason why the Light Music Club is more like the Tea Time Club. Now don't be mistaken, I love Yui. Looking after her might get a bit tedious at times, but as I said in the Yui Hirasawa hoedown, I do wish she was my sister. She would be so much fun. But I have to acknowledge her weaknesses as with the rest of the cast. So in my opinion, Yui is B tier. Next is Ritsu. Now she shares many similarities to Yui. They're not identical, but they are very alike. Ritsu brings energy to the group, she can be a great friend when she wants to be, she does have the best interests of the club at heart, it's basically because of her we even got Keion. She does care about her friends, and even though she refuses to practice just like Yui, she does love drumming and is insanely good at it. But she does have her faults. She's lazy, she's incredibly unreliable, just as Nordica. She's basically the reason why Mio is the way she is, and how can we forget when she went full bitch mode at Mio just because she was hanging out with Nordica? That still gets me even now. So in my opinion, Ritsu is B tier. Next is Mio, my second favorite girl. Mio has very few negatives about her in my eyes. She does have them, just not many to me. She's very reliable, very by the book I think is the right term. Very mature, she has so many good points and I adore her. But she also has her faults like the others. Namely, she tries to avoid social situations and being in the spotlights because it terrifies her. Which I can kind of relate to because I was also far from social growing up. Although the main difference is I have improved over time and will go be around other people. Mio, not so much. She's not quite as bad as Miyako from Waterten and especially Bocchi from Hitori Bocchi, but she still hates being surrounded by people looking at her. Remember the fan club episode? And like Azusa, she lacks the willpower and spine to get the Light Music Club to act like a Light Music Club and just rolls with them, even though she says she actually has so much fun with them. But those few weaknesses aside, Mio is still a wonderful woman who would have been my Keion waifu if Azusa hadn't been added. And no, I'm not changing waifus. So there's really nowhere else for me to put her other than S tier. Next is Mugi. Mugi is a little interesting. Personality-wise, you could say that she's basically Yui as a rich girl, but a bit more grown up. And as such, she's just as lovable as Yui for more or less the same reasons. And she also has a bit of a motherly vibe. But she's also incredibly childlike due to her living a sheltered life growing up, and whenever she learns about or comes across something that we common folk take for granted or think little of, she explodes with joy, which most will agree gives Mugi her charm. But there's also the fact that she kind of enforces the club's bad habits of doing everything but practice, including during the training camps, and her temper tantrums when her family spoils her friends I find really immature. I do get that she wants to live her life as freely as possible without relying on money, but honestly, she should just let her friends be spoiled during their camps. They were only once a year. But that aside, Mugi is about as pure as they come, and she would be such a delight to hang out with. So I put her at A tier. Next is Best Girl Azusa. S tier. Does this even need an explanation? She was my first ever waifu, and I owe a lot to her for helping me through a difficult time of my life. And even though I have yet to rewatch Keion all the way through, I love her now more than ever, and I am never letting her go again. Now we have Nordica, arguably Keion's straight man, or I guess straight woman. I don't have too much to say about her because she didn't really do all that much in my opinion. She's childhood friends with Yui, she took over the student council after Megumi graduated, she yells at Ritsu a lot when she forgets stuff. That's about it. She was just kind of there. Not to say she's a boring character, far from it actually. She even inadvertently gave us one of Azusa's most adorable moments.
モヘンジョダロとかアンコールワットとかマチュピチュとか行ってみたいな。
マツピチュ
マチュピチュ。
マチュピツ。
I'd love to go see Mohenjo-daro, Angkor Wat, Machu Picchu. There's just so many places.
My Pikachu?
Machu Picchu.
Matzo Pizza?
I just don't feel she really contributed that much as a character, much like Enna from Eurocamp. So if I were to place Nordica, she'd be B tier. Next is who I consider the best anime Emoto, Ui. Ui is precious. The way she adores her sister so much is really cute, although some might say it's to the point of her having a major sister complex. Now I do agree that's a bit harsh, because Hinata from Wataten is far worse. But I also kind of agree with it. She loves Yui so much that the thought of her not being at home during the junior episode caused her to start crying. That's major attachment issues, if not a sister complex. And like with Mugi at the club, Ui kind of enforces Yui's bad habits and refuses to be stricter with her. Azusa herself says that Ui coddles her sister too much, and I kind of have to agree with her. But putting all that aside, I still adore Ui. She is an angel of a girl, and I think it's safe to say a lot of Keion fans would love Ui as their sister, if not wife. I certainly would love her as my Emoto. Azusa may be my favorite from Wakaba Girls, but Ui is really close behind. So I would put her no lower than A tier. Next is June. Now June isn't exactly popular with some Keion fans, and she didn't really come into her own until season 2, but she has a lot about her that I like. You could say that she is basically the junior form of Ritsu. One of the anthology comics actually makes the looking like the seniors gag, and one person in the Keion Discord server thinks of June as a bootleg Ritsu. The two do share similarities, being the goofy and fun girls, although one thing June has over Ri-chan is she doesn't torment her friends for fun. Now June doesn't really have any major faults about her, although I guess it would have been nice if she just joined the Light Music Club during season 2 instead of holding off and then complaining of being jealous about how much fun they seem to have. That was pretty much her fault, although in her defense, the seniors didn't exactly make the best first impression. Now I really like June, although it took her the longest of the juniors to really win me over, like with Ritsu and the seniors. She's super fun and would make a hilarious friend, and she's really darn cute, so I would put her in A tier. Finally is Sawako, admittedly my least favorite of the 9. She did make my top 10 most hated anime women list, which is frigging old by now. But I said in that video that despite the title, I don't hate Sawako. She does have her good points. There are just things about her that I don't like. First, her obsession with being the perfect teacher. Now there's nothing wrong with wanting a good resume as a teacher. She just goes really over the top, mostly in season 2, instead of just being herself. Because if anyone remembers the wedding episode, she ultimately shows her true colors, but finds out after that students really like her and accept her for who she is, which some would say is one of the lessons Keion tries to teach you. Second, her mistreatment of Mio. I don't like seeing that, and I have never found it funny. Does she not realize that Mugi would be more than willing to model outfits for her? Why does it specifically have to be Mio? That still irks me. And finally...
I've eaten 12! Quiet!
Yeah, Sawako has a lot of things about her I don't like, hence why I will never be favoriting her. That being said, she does have good points as I said before. She's very dedicated to her job and wants to prove she's a good teacher, perfect image obsession aside. She gets along well with all the students, which I like. And while I consider Mio and Mugi the most beautiful Keions, Sawako is no slouch in looks. She is pretty good looking, and it would be nice if she could find a boyfriend because I think she deserves one. She is fun in her own way. Now as to where I'd place her, she's C tier. Not quite likable enough for a B, but not terrible enough for a D. And that's my Keion tier list. I think these specific tiers suit the respective characters. But that's just me. Your Keion tier list might be different to mine. If so, I'd love to see it. I'll put a link to tiermaker.com in the description box. Let's see where you'd rank the Keions. As always, please rate, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Feel free to come join me on Discord. And remember to stay chilled.